everyone. Thank you for being here today. You're in for a treat. It's my pleasure to introduce the first speaker for this session. Peggy Pecchio is the co-founder and executive director of OK Inc. She has over 32 years of experience in healthy relationship education, focusing on sexual risk avoidance. Peggy, welcome.
Thank you. I wanted to also introduce some colleagues that are joining me in this. And first I'd like to, there I am, hello. I'd like to introduce you to Deborah Landis. She'll be joining us. She's our program liaison. She's actually been with us for over 30 years also, so she's had tons of experience in relationship education. And then we've also brought on the team for today to encourage you and give you some skills maybe to take away from this. Jay Brownlee, our media specialist, and when we began our creative project, he was right with us. He's been building this over the last 7 or 8 years with us. And over the last year and a half, we added Vincent Leone, and Vincent Leone is partnering with us now. We realized that our project became so large, we needed to add an additional person. And I do want to say one thing before we even begin talking about this, is when you're thinking of adding a creative project to your repertoire, that you really do want to have dedicated staff. And we found that out. We found that that was very, very important early on. So let's get moving. I think the first question that we need to ask ourselves today is really, what is personal agency? You know, one of the overarching goals of our sexual risk avoidance projects is always to increase adolescents' personal sense of agency. We want youth to realize they are solely responsible for their thoughts, their feelings, their behaviors, and their future. One of the things we share with young people continually is their decisions today will determine their future tomorrow. A strong sense of personal agency is essential really for youth to feel in control of their life and have faith in their ability to handle a wide range of situations and understand that they are an autonomous person. Those are very, very important things. Other people may positively or negatively influence their thoughts or behaviors, but ultimately, they are in control of how they think, how they feel, and how they behave. A direct outgrowth of adolescents' personal sense of agency is the development of self-regulation, resiliency, and personal power. If you help a youth increase their personal agency, you're going to be helping them with self-regulation, resilience, and personal power. Self-regulation is the ability to monitor their emotions and their thoughts and behaviors in healthy ways. They're able to calm themselves down when they're upset. They're able to cheer themselves up when they're down and behave in ways that reflect both their family and their personal values. Self-regulation is vital to a healthy lifestyle. Resilience, we talk about that a lot. And what is resilience? A direct result of personal agency. It's a capacity to recover quickly from disappointments and difficulties. It's their ability to bounce back. And then we talk about personal power. Well, what really is personal power? We hear that word power thrown around a lot, but personal power is achieved when young people feel competent and they feel confident in their abilities to achieve their goals, whether those goals are short-term or long-term. So in our desire, in our desire to increase personal agency, we needed an innovative, we're always looking for innovative ways to reach youth. So we began to explore the idea of adding the arts, a creative project. We understand, and many of you have probably seen the research, that the arts improve educational outcomes and cognition, increase health and physical well-being, and result in higher levels of community engagement. And that was one of the things that Janine had touched on earlier. You know, how are you making your world a better place to live in? Well, the arts can do that. So we decided on a project with an approach that we wanted to explore and incorporate. We wanted to do personal participation. We wanted youth to create the art, and we wanted audience-based participation. We wanted youth to experience the art. We believe programming must continually be updated and innovative. And you can move to the next slide, Vincent. Updated and innovative so that so youth are ready for the road. They can enjoy optimal health where they thrive and they flourish. And so as a result, we launched the Friends for Friends campaign. The Friends for Friends campaign is a peer-to-peer project that utilizes the arts. Youth would experience the arts by creating it, and youth would also experience art by viewing it. Youth involved in the Friends for Friends campaign, they produce short films dramatizing real-life scenarios, depicting a friend experiencing a crisis involving a risk behavior such as sexting, sexual activity, underage drinking. The teen in the short film has the choice to be a bystander or to intervene and help a friend, hence the Friends for Friends theme. Creating art through these short films gives youth a profound opportunity to enhance their personal sense of agency as they develop the competence and the confidence through the development of these short films, creating the art. Then the youth involved in the creation of the short films provide their peers with an opportunity to experience the art, because these short films are launched on social media, in their schools, their communities, and worldwide. So both we're creating art with youth, and we're allowing our youth to experience the art. Youth involved in the creation really are gaining all kinds of competence and skills that they can maybe take into other avenues of their life, whether it's a career or whether it's educational. As they go on to further their education, they develop skills in filmmaking, but they also develop skills in storytelling. They develop skills in interpersonal relationships as they're working with friends, because one of the things, or as they're working with their peers, because one of the things is oftentimes the young people that we're working with in a particular group, they don't even know each other. So they create this piece of art, and they begin to work with one another in a very unique environment. So all these skills are very transferable into other aspects of their life. And when we're talking about thriving and optimal health and human flourishing, what are we talking about? We're talking about being able to function and enjoy life. And that's one of the things that they get the opportunity to do in these groups. They get to meet people they've never met and work through a project that they're going to be helping people at the end of it. So it's an unbelievable opportunity for young people. And we have found over the last 7 or 8 years that we have grown. Our journey has been long. We've made mistakes, but we've corrected it. We've learned along the way. And so today I'd like to launch Vincent and Jay. They're going to be sharing with you a format that we've developed over the last 7 or 8 years that you can do in your program, because we need to continually update our projects. We need to be very innovative. But why reinvent the wheel? We've had the opportunity to work out this format. We want to share it with you today. And at the end, what Deborah's going to do is she's going to share some resources that we have available to you. And as always, we've been more than happy to help anyone launch their own creative project. So take it away, Vincent and Jay.
All right, thanks so much, Peggy, and thanks, Julie and Michelle, for having us on. Jay and I are really excited to be with you. Hang on, we're going to take you on a ride here, talk about the framework. Jay and I are going to talk together and share a little bit of information with you. So let's dive right in. When we thought about an art project, we first began with this idea of storytelling. We are natural storytellers as humans, meaning it is embedded into how we communicate. Storytelling can be a powerful way to deliver a message, essentially to teach an idea, by entering what is known as the back door of the brain. So the back door is to emotions as the front door is to logic. Back door emotions, front door logic. Stories can give someone a fresh perspective that a logical conversation can't do. Stories allow individuals to digest life from a distance, from a safe and ordered reality, without having to truly experience what the character in the story is going through. And Jay's going to give you a brief example of what we mean by that.
One that comes to mind is when I saw the Hunger Games with my wife. We had Katniss Everdeen running around, getting shot at and attacked by other people in the Hunger Games. And I found myself sitting there in the movie theater, nervous. I could feel my heart beating. My leg was moving up and down. I was sweating, but I was in a safe and ordered reality, like Vincent just said, right? And what's going on there is I'm actually experiencing what Katniss is going through in the Hunger Games. And I'm asking myself, what would I do if I was in that situation? By asking our students to create and experience stories, they will develop more personal agency.
So, although there are many ways to tell stories, for example, through comics or plays or literature, we've chosen filmmaking because video is timely. Let me ask a question, just you can raise your hand briefly. How many of you have heard youth say, I want to be a YouTuber, or I want to be an influencer? Or maybe you've seen some students trying to perfect a TikTok dance. Yeah, I see some hands going up, the raise your hand feature, or even seeing people raise their hand. Yeah, we've all kind of seen this. Everyone can make short films, and a lot of times it can happen just on our phones. Now, most youth are spending time, a lot of their time on YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat. All of these apps integrate video as their main source of entertainment and connection.
So the process of filmmaking allows us to work closely with the students. We have conversations with them. We ask them what you would do if you find yourself in this very situation that we're talking about, and helping them think through what it would be like for them to be in this situation. In addition to developing personal agency, we are teaching transferable skills like video production, working in groups. Something I think is really cool. You start with nothing at the beginning of our project, and by the end, you have this whole short film that we're able to put on YouTube. So creating a product from scratch. By offering students an opportunity to write and act in a short film and view it on our YouTube channel, students around the world are developing personal agency because of the life lessons that we've embedded into these stories that we're telling. And we'll give you all an example of this in a bit.
So you might be sitting there saying, okay, this is exciting, Vincent J, but how am I supposed to pull this off?
Well, we're glad you asked. We have developed a framework, like Peggy said. We're going to break this whole process down for you. We're going to simplify it as much as we can and shorten it too. So we're excited to share it with you all on how we can help, how we can use filmmaking to develop personal agency with youth.
All right, so step number one is selecting a topic. So for our art program, we've chosen the topic of risk behaviors. Once we're in the classroom or sitting with students, we ask them what risk behaviors is most relevant in youth's lives today. And as Peggy mentioned a couple slides ago, some examples we hear are things like sexting, bullying, whether in person or on the internet, cyberbullying, sexual pressure, self-harm, anxiety, or even underage drinking. As we discuss the different topics in the classroom with these students, they become more competent in understanding how risk behaviors may impact their lives because we're talking about them. Some students share even personal stories where they maybe dealt with things like involving risk behaviors. Risk behaviors are often compounding. So youth who are involved in common adolescent risk behaviors such as drug use or alcohol are often also involved in an early sexual debut. And that's kind of how it relates back to our mission of sexual risk avoidance and that message. By telling stories that integrate a topic, a risk behavior, such as sexting or sexual pressure, can also give students the ability to think through critically this decision of sexual risk avoidance.
One thing that Dr. Lee talked about in our last discussion was this idea of the social aspect and how important it is for youth. And whenever we're having these discussions, we're gathered together with the Friends to Friends campaign, we have a lot of discussions and we explore ideas together as a group. And this is where we actually learn a lot as adults. I've learned a whole lot by talking to teens about what's going on, and with technology and everything, the world is shifting constantly for teens. And so it's cool for us to get updated on what's going on out there. So After we have conversations about what topic to do, we have to vote. And many times students don't actually agree on what topic they want to do. But we have to vote because we got to move forward with our project. And some students are disappointed that their topic isn't picked. But this is an opportunity for them to be resilient, to bounce back, and to continue to move forward and work with the group. So once we have our topic picked, we move on to developing the storyline. So we got our topic, we're moving on to developing the storyline. And it can be difficult to not have a story. We have just this rough idea, we're going to do bullying, okay? Now we need a story for this thing. Well, how do we start? Great question. We need a way to get the story going. So one way to think about this is, well, let's name some characters. Let's start exploring some ideas. Let's have a character. What kind of personality would they have? What would some of their goals be? What would some of their motivations be? What would be the big problem that we're going to have in our story to really start getting the creative wheels spinning in our minds for where to get this story going to?
So as Peggy just mentioned, our mission as the Friends for Friends campaign is to have a friend help another friend navigate a risk behavior in a healthy way. So our focus is really the friend's personal power to influence that friend who's struggling to navigate that situation in a positive way. So it really is all about this idea of developing personal agency within the story and also through the creation of art for the students.
So we developed our storyline and we can move on to creating our script with that storyline. We use the storyline as the skeletal structure to put the meat on the bones with the actual script that we're going to develop. So if the storyline isn't working, then your script isn't going to work. So it's important that this is good so that your script will be good. When the script is complete, this is when it really starts to get fun with the students. We'll bring the script into the classroom and we'll have them read through it. And this is where we really start to experience it. We can imagine it and the story is beginning to come to life. And it's a lot of fun to see what you can even begin at this stage to begin to see what that short film is going to look like.
Next, after developing the storyline, drafting a script, it's now time to cast the characters. Now, this whole time, as we meet, week after week, we're building a sense of anticipation for like the moments where we're actually going to see this project come together. So when casting, we could go to the drama department in some of the schools that we work with because we know those students are already involved in art. However, we've chosen to actually reach out and include students who aren't involved in art because our Friends for Friends campaign and the short films that we make it's not so much about the excellence of acting as much as it's about the process of creating art. Sometimes creating art is difficult, but it's also very rewarding at times. We know that in the creation of art, personal agency is developed. I'll say that again because it's so key. In the creation of art, personal agency is developed. And we know that when personal agency is developed, oftentimes it leads to role models being created in their schools. So youth who have personal agency through the creation of art are often those change agents in schools.
All right, so we've selected our topic, we've developed a storyline, we've drafted a script, we've cast our characters, and now we are ready to film. So we've done all that planning and we're ready to get to the actual production. And what's important to keep in mind here is things don't always go to plan. And you have to be willing to adapt. And there's all kinds of that goes on. Students' availability might change, the locations, the scenes, the lines may all need to change that are in the script. And here's a chance for us as adults to model resiliency for the students. For example, when our expectations aren't met and plans change, we must adapt, even though it can be very difficult. Because just keep in mind, like we've imagined this whole thing to happen in this way, and now we have to change it here in the moment. Everything we do during the framework is to serve the story, to make sure the audience always stays as immersed in the story as possible. To do this, you should always film with the end in mind. Always consider how the shots will be put together for the final product.
So I want to draw us back to what Peggy said, that art is twofold. There's the creation, but there's also the experience. And this is kind of the moments where we begin to see the transition. Just briefly, we're in the creation, but we're also trying to be thoughtful about what is it going to be like for an audience to see this on the big screen or on the small screen, on their phone. What is it like for them? So we have to film with the end in mind. As a director, You want to coach your actors or actresses to make the characters believable as possible. As Jay said, the more the characters are believable, the more the audience is going to stay immersed in that story. If a student is struggling, one of the best things to do is to actually show them their acting. So we pull up the monitor on the camera and we show it to them. We say, hey, what do you think about this? We know that by studying yourself, it's a great way to improve quickly. And that's true for acting, but also for life. Now, if a student continues to struggle, what we like to do is try and insert or put their natural personality into the character. And that's when we begin to have some of those conversations or ask questions like, hey, what would you do in this situation? And that really allows to give more life to the characters. So after completing the filming, we edit it all together, and then we begin to plan for a highly anticipated event, our annual film festival.
All right, so a few weeks before the film festival, we go in, we show the students their short film. This is personally my favorite time. We've done all this planning, we've done all this producing, and now we're able to actually show them what's going on with the art that we've created for the first time. And they're super excited to see it. And so we've turned it into this piece of art. They're able to experience it for the first time. That's what's going on when we go in there and show it to them. They're experiencing what they've created, which is really cool. The Friends for Friends campaign is an awareness project. So it's all about raising awareness. The students take ownership of the project because they want youth to experience the art that they've created. By experiencing art, youth can increase personal agency. And Vincent, why don't you tell them how?
So I want to remind us of that idea of entering through the back door of the brain through stories. When students are experiencing this art, watching the short film on TV or on their phone or on the computer, their attitudes or intentions towards risk behaviors may be challenged by the content of the short film, which causes them to think and ultimately behave differently in a more positive way. And so to summarize, we know that behavioral change begins with knowledge, learning something new. And when that knowledge is thought about more, those attitudes are challenged a little bit, and it encourages them to have critical thinking. And that ultimately then leads to a change in behavior. And so through the experience, the ultimate goal is that they're challenged. The ways of thinking are challenged a bit, and hopefully that will lead to a change in behavior. And so about 10 days before the film festival, we post all of our short films onto our YouTube channel, and we encourage the students to share their films with their families, their friends, and their community. The film that has the most likes on YouTube ends up winning the film festival.
We help the students promote their short film. What this looks like typically is we'll go in during their lunchtime, set up a table. We'll have a computer set right there, and people can come up and they can watch it. They can actually, we've done in the past, it's kind of, we got into some trouble here and there because sometimes the internet doesn't work or whatever. But people will try and like it right then and there. We can show it during the morning announcements. The school administration's cool with that. And they just, word of mouth telling their friends to like their short film because they want to win the film festival. And it's a lot of fun. So here, when we're getting to the film festival, we are transitioning from the creation. We're pivoting from, we've created something, we need to now move on from that to promoting it so that people can experience it. Because ultimately, this is about raising awareness. We are building anticipation for the release of our short films, not only for the community, but also our worldwide audience that is on YouTube. And we have over 440,000 subscribers on YouTube right now. We've got way over 100 million views. And so we actually have a worldwide audience too, that people are in the comments saying, hey, when's your new short films coming out there, interacting with us, wanting to see more, which is great. And the students that we work with, they think that's really cool too, because whatever we create, their community will see, their school will see, their family will see, their friends will see, but also all kinds of people all over the world will see it as well. So they think that's really cool. So we hold our short films under lock and key, and we release them 10 days before the film festival so people can finally experience them.
So we're on to our last step of the framework. We celebrate youth's creative achievements at our community-wide annual film festival. So at this festival, we invite our community partners, we have politicians, We have teachers and principals even give out these big awards, and they kind of look like the Academy Awards. It's really fun. We have Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Role, so on and so forth. And we're really there to honor the work of the students. We want to acknowledge all the work they had done, really in the months up to maybe even a year prior to that. Now, because of this, students, the youth, are really excited to come to the film festival. While making the film in the months prior, they may have given up time with friends, time with family, video games, time on their phones, or other extracurricular activities because they believed in that moment and throughout the process that the film in the film festival was absolutely worth it.
So I want to tell you a quick story about the film festival. It was my first year working with OK Inc. And we developed these short films. I think we did about 5 or 6 of them. And I thought, hey, it'd be cool to do a film festival. This was a new idea at the time. Let's do it at Cheney High School in their auditorium. We'll invite all the schools to come. And it was just like, hey, this would be fun, you know. So everybody kind of came and we watched the short films and we did the awards. But then I remember being outside of the auditorium after the whole event. And one of the students had won an award. His name was Demond. And I remember talking to him in the auditorium. He said that he had never won a trophy before in his life. And it was just really special to him. And I realized in that moment, like, this is a big deal. This is a bigger deal than I thought, you know. This really meant a lot to him. This gave him some competence in doing this project with us. And now, as he's standing out there in the auditorium with me, he now has some confidence. And it's really cool to see that smile on his face. So to summarize this whole entire framework that you see here on the screen, during the creation and experiencing of the film, youth are gaining competence, and as a result, they're getting that confidence that I saw in Demond that day.
So what we want to do is we want to actually highlight a short film we've made. This is actually a short film from our most recent release, and the short film is titled I'm Pregnant. So Jay, explain a little bit about the group that we worked with, please.
Yeah, this is Campbell Memorial High School. And this is a special group of students to me. There's a lot of faces in there that I actually made a short film on sexting, I don't know, 4 years ago or something like that. And these students were in middle school. And so it's been cool to actually see a lot of these students grow up. Some of them have beards and mustaches now, which is pretty wild, and they've grown like a foot. And their voices have changed. So it's kind of fun to go back and watch that old short film that we made, and then to see them totally changed now. But yeah, they're a special group of students, and we're going to be talking about the one short film they did called I'm Pregnant.
So basically what we want to do is tell you a little bit about this short film, and then we're going to show you a brief clip that happens just prior to the middle of the short film. So if you focus your attention on that top left picture of the young woman there, that is MJ. And we meet MJ first thing right off the bat in the short film. She's in school, and we can tell just by the look on MJ's face that something is wrong. We meet also her best friend in the short film, which her name is Elena. And Elena is really excited because she just got asked on a date. The next scene, we see MJ in a drugstore or grocery store and is looking for a pregnancy test. And so we're left wondering as the audience, what's going on here? Is she pregnant? And what's going to happen next?
So then that next picture we see is a picture of her boyfriend. He's dropping her off at her house, and she says that she has to tell him something. And then she tells him that she's pregnant. And then we get to see his response. He's obviously very surprised. He's a bit accusatory. What's going on here? You know, then he says that everything's going to be okay. We'll figure this out, right? And then throughout the short film, we juxtapose MJ's relationship with Elena, her friend's relationship with Stefan, which is going well, you know. And Elena gets a text from MJ, and that's how we move from this to what we're about to show you, the scene where Elena walks into MJ's room.
All right, so we're going to show you a brief clip. Jay, give me a thumbs up to make sure you hear the sound. And I want to apologize in advance for the choppiness. We want to show you and get you kind of immersed in this story here.
I got your text. How far along are you?
5 weeks. I missed my period this month and got really scared. I finally got enough courage to go get a pregnancy test last night. And then my worst fear came true. What am I gonna do? My parents are gonna be so mad at me.
Well, they're gonna find out sooner or later, so you're better off telling them as soon as you can.
They're gonna be so disappointed in me. How am I gonna keep up with the kid and school? I don't want to be a high school dropout.
I mean, Megan was able to graduate 2 years ago with a baby.
Yeah, but I don't want her life.
Hey,
I used to think she was so stupid for getting pregnant. Now here I am.
you're gonna figure this out. Just take it one day at a time, okay?
So after we see the scene of Elena and MJ in her bedroom, after Elena leaves, MJ receives a message from her boyfriend saying that he isn't interested in being a dad yet, and he's out, and she's all alone. And you can see that in that middle column, the last picture at the bottom. So she takes the advice of her friend Elena, and she does tell her parents. And after exploring all of her options, MJ decides to find adoptive parents. And as you can see in the top right picture on that third film reel there, that Elena is very supportive throughout the whole process of her searching for adoptive parents.
Mm-hmm. And while writing a letter to her unborn son, MJ begins to go into labor. And right there's a really cool scene where she's sitting down writing this letter to her son to be. And you guys should all check it out. There's a song that we wrote right there that's pretty neat that really brings that whole scene to life. You should check it out. And then finally, she ends up going to the hospital. And if you want to know what happens next, you need to get on YouTube and check it out for yourself.
So let's break down a little bit of this scene. Let's talk a little bit about storyline, characters, music, the equipment, and the idea of the cut and what it's like to be like filming and being with students and interacting with them and creating something from nothing. So Jay, tell us a little bit of how a scene like this that we just saw begins, especially like an emotional scene.
Yeah, well, the scene you just saw was at Alex's house, which you're about to meet Alex here in a little bit. She played MJ. It was in her room. And I got there, was setting up a light there in her room. I had the girls run through their scripts to get the words in their head, get their lines going. And we set it up, and we just continued to hone the script. We run through it rough and say, hey, let's try to make it better each time. And let's work together as a team to make sure this feels right, so that we're keeping the end in mind. How are people going to experience this later on, right? And so here's an example of something that we actually changed. I went back and looked at the original script, and there were some opening lines to this scene. You see Elena comes into MJ's room, and Elena says, how was your date with Stefan? And then she said, oh, it was fine. How are you, right? And as we were working on this scene, I realized that line needed to go because this isn't about Elena. This is about MJ, and we wanted to have MJ laying on her bed, kind of facing away from her. And we wanted to have Elena kind of come in and MJ not respond to her right away. You know, there's going to be kind of this uneasy feeling in the air, you know? And so we realized we had to adapt the script. We had to change it to make it feel the way that we needed it to feel, very serious and somber and that sort of thing. So that's an example of how we adapted it.
Yeah, that's cool, Jay, to get your perspective as a filmmaker and understanding, okay, what really goes on in the creation that ends up with the final product on the screen. Mm-hmm. And it's cool that as an adult, the one who's there kind of guiding the youth through this filmmaking process, you have to think quickly. You have to regulate your emotions in the moment, because I'm sure it wasn't easy for you to make adjustments after, you know, some of the decisions you had made prior to getting there in that room, filming that scene. So again, like speaking of that, what are some of those challenges as a director working with students?
Yeah, well, using that scene that we just showed you all, another example is we needed the audience to feel the way that MJ was feeling. She's very fearful of the future. She's afraid of what other people will think of her. She's obviously scared to tell her parents those sorts of things. And so one thing we needed, like Alex, when we first practiced her lines, she was doing a good job of, you know, saying her lines, but we really needed tears coming out of her eyes to really help us feel the way that she's feeling, you know. And so we talked to her about it, and I said, hey, we really need to see some mascara running down your face. And Alex agreed. So in the end, we ended up putting some eye drops in her eyes. She didn't actually cry, but we were able to create the illusion of tears. And I think hopefully to some degree we fooled you all when we showed it there. But
so it's cool. This scene is kind of a snapshot of the Friends with Friends campaign philosophy. So Jay, share a little bit more about that with these three screenshots.
yeah, so on the bottom left, we have Elena, and she sees her friend that's struggling. And then at the top, we have MJ, who's in a crisis situation. She's unsure of what to do. And there's a friend that sees what's going on. And then finally, on the bottom right-hand corner of the triangle there, we have Elena who comes in, and she is present with her friend. She comforts her. She supports her. She encourages her to do the right thing. She gives her a sense of hope. And then she also directs her towards her parents. She says in that scene, you need to tell your parents, right? And then even too, as a storyteller and as an artist, we actually have a symbol of friendship there. I remember actually directing this part and thinking about this, like, how do we really tell this story? Because we need you to console her in some way. It was kind of weird her being there on the bed, like to just give her like this full on hug. And then I thought, well, once you just come around, you'll come closer to her when she kind of starts to break down. You'll come alongside your friend. You'll be even closer, even more present to her. You'll put your arm around her. And I like the end result because it ends up showing this symbol of what friendship is. It's these two people going through life side by side, shoulder to shoulder, to take on what is in the unknown.
So let's meet Alex. Alex was a first-time actress, and she accepted the challenge. She challenged herself to understand the emotional and physical realities of a pregnant teenager. And so as an actress, she had to really put herself in the shoes of that character. And so it was cool. Jay had the idea to reach out to Alex 2 years later and ask about her experience in the Friends for Friends campaign. And so we're going to show you another short video clip of an interview Jay and Alex had together. And so again, I apologize for any choppiness or lagging, but just hear the words that she sang. It was cool. She was on her way to work, so we got to catch her really quick right before that. Jay, again, give me a thumbs up when you hear it, please.
Like, I tried to put myself in her shoes and try to see what she was dealing with, and it was really hard to do that, and it was hard to like imagine what it would be like if that were to actually be me, and it was just difficult to even wrap my head around. It felt more real as I went through the video and we were filming and everything, and especially when we went to the hospital and people were giving me looks, I was like, oh wow, like this feels so real. I just could not imagine if this was actually my life. Through doing the film, I was able to break out of my shell a little bit, and I definitely became more confident. I think it helped prepare me for after high school, because after high school I wasn't with the same people and everything, so I feel like that confidence definitely helped me to break out of my shell. In the video, they were my actual parents, and actually telling them, it kind of freaked me out, honestly. Even though it wasn't real, it just felt so real, and I feel like that was the most powerful thing, because like there was already a connection there, like they're my biological real parents. It definitely makes you think about things and put things into perspective. Not even just with this video, all the other videos like vaping and drinking and all of the things that the Friends with Friends campaign brings up, it definitely puts things in perspective. It teaches you lessons. That's what it's meant to do. And I feel like that helps guide you into making the right decisions and all of that. so that you don't get put into the situation that the characters are put into. Everybody makes mistakes in their lifetime, and the thing that the video taught is even though you may make a mistake or something, there's definitely ways to come out of that for the better and make the best decision for you even after you've already made a mistake. Take responsibility for your actions. Nobody's perfect, but there's things that we can do to make things better for us and for everybody else, and just own up to your mistakes.
All right, so I just want to highlight a couple things that Alex said there. She said that she had to put herself in MJ's shoes to really understand her character. And that's something that even for me as a parent, I mean, I got 4 kids. I hope that my kids learn from my mistakes, right? They don't have to actually experience the mistakes that I made. And that's really what you're doing when we're helping these students think about these characters. Alex is putting herself in MJ's shoes. She's understanding what she would be going through. She's understanding her perspective, and she's learning from that whole situation. She's becoming more competent. And because of that, she can become more confident to make a healthy decision into the future. And then she talked about taking responsibility for actions, which is something I really love. And then she said, and this is something else that I think is really cool, and I love that she said it. She said, you can make a good decision even after making a mistake. And that's a form of resiliency.
And so to bring some conclusion, we want to briefly share a little bit more about our Friends for Friends Film Festival, which again is celebrating youth's creative achievements. And so we have a short video, a teaser, you could say, that we put out a month or so prior to our film festival to get some excitement, build the excitement for that experiencing of the art. So we're going to play a short 1-minute teaser that showcases I'm Pregnant, the movie that we just, or the short film we showed a clip of, but also all the other short films that we had this particular year in the Short Film Festival.
What? What is it?
She ain't gonna say nothing out loud. Trust me, I promise.
You do not know what he did to me.
Don't leave, all right? I'll take care of you.
Are you telling me?
Yeah, Billy. It's better than smoking or chewing. Yeah, but Peyton smokes and vapes.
Man, I don't know. It is a crime. It falls in the category of felony. To give you an idea.
So at our Friends for Friends Campaign Film Festival, we show short films. And I love those 2 lines right at the end. It says, changing the world one short film at a time. It's cool to see that the students are taking part in something like that. So we have the short films on the big screen. Typically, we host the film festival at a local theater. Then we have the awards ceremony. And then we also perform live original music. And so we want to showcase a song for you. And Jay's going to explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, the song we want to share with you today is called I Can Be a Hero. And it's cool that we can write these songs and try and find talent with different students that sing and that sort of thing, and are interested in writing songs and recording. And it's cool because we bring these 2 projects together, creating of the short film, but also these songs, and we bring them together. And it really makes our short films really unique, because they have these original songs that are put into them. So like I said, with that teen pregnancy short film that we did, there's a really cool song in there that people on YouTube like. So check it out. So we'd like to share the song with you. And it's called I Can Be a Hero. And it's all about, we believe that inside of each student, there is a hero that just has to be awakened. And so what does that mean? It means increasing their ability to develop self-regulation, resiliency, and personal power. All these things are personal agency.
All right, so here we go. Jay, again, a thumbs up when you can hear it, please. Ooh, 1 second.
Okay.
Wow. Thank you, Vincent, and thank you, Jay. That was awesome. As a result of the Friends for Friends project, we have seen unbelievable things happen as a result. Not only can we help youth increase their personal agency from creation of the art, but also allowing our youth to experience the art, as Peggy and Vincent and Jay have all shared. And our youth are doing just that. Our youth are sharing their creations within their schools, within their communities, such as we all just saw from the film festival, and also worldwide through our YouTube channel. And it is working. We are very excited about this because our YouTube channel currently has over 129 million views. Wow. From literally every country in the world. And currently, as of today, has 453,000 subscribers. It is successful. And teens share daily through their comments how much the short films are helping them. So we know that not only are their personal agencies increasing from the creation of the art, but also the students that are viewing and experiencing the art. So we are very excited about that. Also, a bonus happened along the way, and that is with our parents. Our analytics show from our YouTube that parents are experiencing the arts by viewing our short films. And when the parents view the films, it's like they are getting a glimpse or a window into the life of their teen. And this is very exciting because now when that parent has a keener insight into what is going on in the life of their teen, they can now help them increase their personal agency. How do they do that? A few ways. One way is they can now help their teen develop assertiveness skills that are needed to navigate the peer pressure through all the various risk factors or whatever they're experiencing in their life. The parent can also help their teen develop their confidence and their personal power, therefore increasing their personal agency. And finally, the parent can help their teen build that resilience. And Alex touched on that in her interview, that, you know what, if a teen makes a mistake, they can bounce back. In closing, we want to encourage each of you, because you know what, you can do a project like this. Try it, experiment with it, have fun with it, because we know that ultimately, when youth increase their personal agency, they are going to make healthier decisions. And those healthier decisions are going to lead to healthier futures. And Jonine touched on that in her presentation on human flourishing. And this can cause our teens to flourish. And finally, you can be that agent that can help a youth discover the hero that lies beneath. We'd like to thank you for attending our session. And right now we'd like to share a few resources with you, and then we're going to take some of the questions that have been coming in. So thank you for that. First of all, we'd like to tell you that all of our short films, you could go to our YouTube channel, and we're going to share that at the end. We have 42 short films on YouTube that you can watch, and we encourage you, they're on all different topics. We have a total of 42. Also, you may request a toolkit, and that will it's a kit that will help you get started if you would like to recreate this project for yourself. And then we also have some ed puzzles, and maybe some of you are already familiar. It's actually a teaching app. So we actually, through the pandemic over the summer, we took every single one of our short films, so 42 in total, and we developed an ed puzzle with each of them. So a student can watch the short film, and as they're watching it, questions come up in the midst of the short film that the student has to answer before they can continue on. And many of our schools are using these ed puzzles as assignments. So especially for the virtual learners through the pandemic. So this has been a great addition. And finally, we have our music. And you heard one of our songs, but we have 16 original songs that you can listen to and use at your discretion. So those are some of our resources. And now we'd like to just answer a few questions that have come in. And right here is our slide. That is our contact information. And please, we encourage you, any way that we can help you, we want to help and be there for you. But here's a few questions that have come in. So let's take a look at our first question. This is a great question. How do I get started with a project like this? And the very first thing we'd like to say is to designate a staff member that's going to be in charge of this. So just you could start off hiring someone part-time, but we found that just having a designated person will really help you get the project off the ground. Next, our best advice is to begin the project with a school or a community a community project, a community organization that you already have a strong relationship with. You could go in and you could talk with them about the benefits of a creative arts project. You can share some of the information you've learned today, the importance of increasing personal agency, how that relates back to helping youth make healthier decisions, therefore having healthier futures and enabling them to flourish. We would suggest during your presentation to the school or the community organization to show some of these short films, because that really does make a difference. It really gets them excited and they want to participate in the project. Another question. Oh, yes.
You know what, I just wanted to add to that because I saw something
Please.
that came up. You know, our Friends for Friends campaign is connected to a bigger project. It's our sexual risk avoidance curriculum program that we offer to the schools. So no school can participate in the film project if they aren't also having our curriculum presentations. So they get the foundation that we provide through our curriculum presentations and our curriculum, and then we add on this project, this film project. So it's a dual thing. We provide a foundation with sexual risk avoidance education, and then those schools that choose to we add on our Friends for Friends campaign. So you must have our curriculum before you can it's our Represent High School curriculum. I just saw that one come up, but you have to have our curriculum presentations, and then we if you'd like, and we have the room for it, then we add you into our Friends for Friends project.
Thank you, Peggy. Another question is, what basic equipment do I need to get started? What equipment do you recommend? And you know what, Jay, I'm going to turn this one over to you, please. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to start off by saying you could do this on an iPhone if you got a good iPhone. The reason I say that is because it's really all about the story. The story is what's most compelling. The story is what keeps people's attention. That's actually a little challenge I like to give myself at some point, is to actually film one of these on an iPhone. I think it'd be really cool. But if you got some money and you have somebody who knows how, he's pretty tech savvy, you know, you could get a camera, like we had a Canon XA20, just something that's pretty user friendly, a camcorder. and that would get you started. That's what we used for the first couple of years. Actually, we had something before that. But yeah, you'd have to get some editing software. You could use iMovie though, if you have a MacBook. That's what I used the first year. I just used iMovie. It's pretty easy to learn. You could also get DaVinci Resolve, that's free. That's editing software, or Premiere Pro, which is like, there's a monthly subscription, which kind of stinks, but, and then obviously you want to get a decent microphone if you can afford it, so that your audio sounds good. And audio, I guess we didn't really touch on this, but audio is actually really important. Just imagine if I was talking right now, you got it on it. Just imagine how that makes you cringe when I do that, right? Audio is really important. It helps you stay immersed in what the person's saying, okay? So you want to make sure you have good audio, okay? Or else it's going to bump people right out of the story, just like you got bumped out of what I was just saying right there, okay? And I think that's probably about it, Deborah. So.
Okay, thank you, Jay. Appreciate that. We had another question here. This person wanted to know that, okay, once you get your school or community organization on board, how do you begin meeting with the students? Well, we suggest that you get what we call a peer leadership advisor. That would be an adult. That would be your go-to person, your contact person. And we work with that adult. We call them the peer leadership advisor. We work one-on-one with them, and they actually select the students. And they will actually help you with all the logistics, give you a place to work, help you get permission forms, stay in constant contact with the students. So the peer advisor would typically select the students. You would get all your dates of when you're going to meet and just go from there.
Well, I wanted to add on too, Deborah. One of the things that is very unique about this project is when we're doing the topic, when we're trying to figure out what the topic is, we ask the youth, what is the risk behavior that you feel most adversely affects relationships in your school? And so it's a myriad of topics, and every year we discover something new and how it's adversely affecting the relationships, because ultimately that's what we're trying to develop here, right? Healthy relationships so that they go on to have a healthy future and a healthy family. And so it's very, very interesting. And sometimes they come back and they'll say, hey, they want to do this risk behavior. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you got to be kidding me. Like for 1 year, for example, it was cutting. And we did not anticipate that was a big problem at the high school level. And we found out that, yes, it was a very big problem. And we did a project on cutting, and we felt that was a huge breakthrough for us. So we encourage you to listen to what the youth are telling you, because they're going to tell you what the risk behaviors are that are adversely affecting the relationships in their school. Oh, good question. Someone wanted to know about COVID. Deborah, I'm going to let you do that.
Oh, one. Yes. Thank you so much for that. So that has definitely been challenging with the pandemic. So many of our schools have not allowed us to come in. So Jay has been meeting with the students virtually. So on Zoom, you know what, we've made it work. It's not ideal because a lot of times, a student might not show up. They don't seem to have as much time as meeting in person is just so much better. However, that being said, we are still moving forward. Schools want to participate. The students are excited. They want to make these short films. So we're just having to make those adjustments. And we're now at a spot where a couple of them we're getting ready to film. So we're trying to work those logistics out right now with our schools. But
so they're still writing the scripts, right, Jay, right, Vincent? They're writing the scripts, and we're going to be ready to film as soon as the opportunity arises. And many of our schools are already in person, so they're transitioning from hybrid to in person. So we feel we're going to get some of these films done this year.
Yeah, well, last year was pretty tough. Like I talked about before, you have to be able to adapt, and the adapting for last year was, well, we just weren't able to film, sadly. as I'm sure you're well aware. But we're able to create the stories through Zoom, and then hopefully here we'll be able to film as schools get back to some kind of normal from last year. So we'll see. We'll let you know how it goes.
But please don't let anything deter you from trying this project. We are here for you. We would love to help anyone out there. Please get in touch with us. And we're very grateful for the opportunity to share this information with you this afternoon. Thank you so very much.
Peggy, Deborah, Jay, Vincent, I want to thank you all for this great presentation. And thanks to all of you that joined us. We're going to take a short break, and then there's going to be an opportunity for networking and to share ideas. So join us for the field talk session in 15 minutes. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.